Why do we make change sound like such a bad thing nowadays? If anything, change is literally how we evolved as a human species, right? We had to evolve into this form that we're living in the 21st century. And nowadays, it seems like embracing the change that goes on with the seasons and the different chapters in your life is such a bad thing, right? So I want to go over embracing change instead of trying to fight it is actually a better thing in your life. When you start to embrace change, you actually start to embrace a new form of your life. Finding purpose, finding fulfillment is part of that change. And why would you want to run away from that? And typically today, when we run away from it, we run away with vices, things that aren't actually benefiting us. Things such as alcohol, such as drugs, such as anything, social media. Those things have bad consequences with them, right? So I made a list of things that are going to happen with the change while you're on your journey trying to find fulfillment in your life and ultimately find purpose. So number one, embrace the change of friends. So with, you going on your journey and you starting to, want to find purpose. What is the meaning of your life? Change of friends might come with that journey. Okay? Because just think of it as people that you knew. Say you're 18. Your 18-year-old self should not be equal to the 23-year-old self. If these two are equal, you're doing something wrong, right? These should not equal each other. And that's part of adapting and becoming a better form of yourself. Finding fulfillment, finding purpose in your everyday life. And honestly, some people are like this. This may be your friends. It might just be them, right? These guys that you were hanging with 5 years ago are still the same people. They're still in the same exact spot. They're still doing the same things that they always done, right? The same, okay, yeah, we have to go to this job that we hate because society tells us that we have to do it. And you know what? Just get used to being miserable. No, it should not be like that. And if that, living a life of misery, choosing that over, losing friends, it's worth the sacrifice. Because they might hold you back. It might just be subconsciously that they hold you back. Because evolving your way of thinking to, okay, this job that I'm doing right now, I'm not fulfilled by it. I hate it, but, everybody else is doing it. Everybody else has the same mentality that, yeah, this is just the way it is. But in reality, it's not. Okay? So when you're going on this change in your life, you might start new hobbies, right? So these new hobbies, they can be anything, right? Let's say you want to do roller skating. Okay? And you just give it a try because you don't know, because it takes a lot of trial and error, right? And just because you start one doesn't mean you end at it, right? Start doesn't equal the end. So when you start this new hobby, roller skating, for example, friends around you might say, what are you, a 80s disco girl now? Skating around in the ring and stuff like that? It's because you're trying something new that they never tried anything new. And it kind of brings you down, right? Because you guys are right here, but if you're going up, but your friends are right here, they try to pull you back down, right? And, embracing the fact that you might have to switch up your friends, might have to cut these guys off. It's part of this journey. I know for me, when I first started getting into the gym, right, I had the worst possible like physique, gym. I was like skinny fat in a way. I had gained like 20 pounds in like a year. Like, I grew up somewhat skinny, used to run. This was during like COVID times too. I was a runner, and I just stopped doing that, started eating more, and well, I kind of, I got 20 pounds literally within a year. And so, I started getting into the gym. I probably made like 6 months, newbie progress. And, it was people around me that was, like, this is when I started going, like, I was probably trying to go like 5, 6 times in a week. And I couldn't do other stuff that I was doing because at the time I was in college. Before I had dropped out, this is when I first started my gym journey. And, instead of doing things, I don't even know, we just used to hang out and stuff like that. But instead, be like, yeah, I can't hang out this time, or I can't go out to eat with you guys because I'm going to the gym. And I used to get like side comments from these guys because I think they saw my progress too, in a way. Like, I wasn't the same me at the beginning of the semester than how I ended. And like, oh, what are you, the next Arnold or whatever, trying to be Arnold, trying to get big and buff, stuff like that, And, it didn't really affect me at the time, but looking back on it, it's like, man, these guys are kind of hating. And, well, where are they at today? 5 years later, I don't talk to these guys no more. Right? So, the next thing in embracing change is embrace being isolated. Now, kind of the same thing with a change of friends. You can have the same friends still, but they might not be on the same journey as you. They might not actually dig deeper into finding their purpose in life. So with finding your purpose, it's going to take a lot of self-reflection. And nowadays we have so many distractions going around us that being around too many people actually, like, it doesn't help us hone in on who we really are, right? I know, like, if you ever see those people that all they do is like always in a relationship, they never really heal themselves. They never really fix themselves from the past relationship that they're trying to get in with a new relationship, right? And when you don't embrace that isolation, you can't heal or fix anything that happened with the previous relationship, right? Because obviously that previous one wasn't good because it didn't work. So when you embrace isolation, you basically just have tunnel vision on what you want to attack. What do you want to try? What do you want to, ultimately do for the rest of your life? When you have this tunnel vision, it's easier, and probably the only way, honestly, with being isolated. And I felt lonely at times, trying to figure out my meaning in life, because I went just basically just floating this world, no sense in the world for 5, a little bit longer years. When I actually embraced the isolation, it was more so embracing being alone, having that alone feeling over like a loneliness feeling. And it's two different things. And people will understand like why you're going, with this time to yourself. Because honestly, the best thing you can do is honestly just sit in your room, no phone, no nothing, just stare at a wall, stare at the ceiling. If this is when you start questioning, you have questions in your mind, and questions are good. That means you're looking for a change. You're looking for fulfillment in life. Questions are good. So when you go through this stage of isolation, a lot of people chase vices. Okay. So when you chase vices, it just fills voids, right? So vices fill voids. And what I mean by this is, let's say you have a job during the weekdays, right? You're working Monday to Friday. On the weekends is when, you're partying or you're hanging out, going out to eat, anything like that. These vices, drinking, smoking, anything, really. These are vices at the end of the day because you're trying to fill a void. You just felt like crap for 5 days. 5 days of crap. And now it's the weekend and you think you get 2 days of freedom. And this is when people, 2 days of void, really, because you're trying to, cancel out these 5 days that just happened because you're doing this dead end job that you hate. And these next 2 days is really just getting you ready for this 5 days again. And then the cycle repeats and it repeats and it keeps going on and on and on. Instead, these 2 days, instead of going out, you're alone. You're trying to figure out your purpose, true meaning in your life. What is actually important to you? And that's, not everybody's going to understand that, right? Because a lot of people just accepted the fact that they're going to go on with this job that they hate. They're going to, do what they're told, get off when they're told, and live the rest of their life, or they have a dream of, 60 years, or when I'm 65 or whatever, that, then I can truly be free, right? But a lot of people are just distracted by it, and it's so easy to nowadays, right? Especially with all the just internet, people around you, bad vices. Very, very easy to. So, have to get used to that. And now the last one is going to be embracing pressure. Now, you might have family that you stay with, family that you love, right? And honestly, taking the route that's less traveled is harder than, the same route that everybody knows. Either getting some kind of skill or whatever, working a job, whether you're working a factory job or you're now a plumber or something like that, you're embracing the pressure of your family if you do not take this route, right? So you have the main route. Everybody takes this route, right? Just regular 9 to 5, just doing something to pay the bills. But if you go out here on the outskirts, right, the path less traveled, which is why it's not as dense as the one that is traveled. Less traveled, you're going to get funny looks. And if it's family, right, if it's close family to you, you're going to feel the pressure of them, right? It's like, why are you starting a YouTube channel when, you should be honestly just working a job? Why are you starting to do this project? Why are you trying all these different hobbies? Why are you trying to be different now? Because they expect you to be in the same way that you once were, right? Which is okay, but, your family might pressure you to do something, with your life. Whether, if you don't even have a job right now, you're just lost, or you're doing a factory job, right? Obviously, we all know we can't move up in factory jobs, right? Nobody wants to move up and be managers and stuff like that within the factory. Like, no. It might be dead end, honestly. You might be at Amazon, and there's really no levels to grow, right? I mean, you start down here, you get up here, this is like a cap. Like, your cap's not that much. What, maybe $4 or $5 more when you're at your full cap? But that's not something we're geared toward, right? Nobody was, as a kid, oh man, I want to be a freaking Amazon worker when I grow up. Like, no, that doesn't happen. And, when you're outside the norm, you get pressure to not be outside the norm. So, at the end of the day, these are sacrifices. Sacrifices, you might have to take some. You might have to take all 3 of them. Embracing the fact that you have to sacrifice the change of friends, sacrifice the change of being isolated, and sacrifice, being isolated and then embracing pressure, right? So sacrifice having like that pressure on you. But if you have to take all those sacrifices, it's completely worth going towards your purpose and striving towards your goals. Like, I've always had, there was always like a fire lit under me of, I always wanted to help people somehow. Like, how can I help people? And I never really knew the path I was going to take. But deep down, like, I always loved helping. I always loved giving. I remember, like, it's so hard. I'm pretty frugal with my money. But, like, Christmas time and, like birthdays, it's so easy to spend $400 on someone when it's, like, damn near impossible for me to even spend $100 on myself. Right? I don't really buy new clothes and stuff like that and new, like, experiences and whatnot. But, like, shoot, just helping my mom. I remember buying her a freaking Apple Watch last Christmas, and, like, it was like nothing to spend it, you know? Like, I don't know. I love helping people. I love providing for people. And, you know, I decided to take this route of making a YouTube channel because I just remember the feeling of feeling so down in life, like hopeless. Like, what is the purpose, right? Is there even purpose, meaning in life? And honestly, there is. And honestly, I think I can help a lot of people. And it's so, like, fulfilling. And that's what I plan to do. But at the end of the day, you got to think of what's best for you. Because nobody can tell you what's going to make you happy in life. What's going to bring purpose into your life. You have to do it through trial and error. And a lot of time thinking, self-reflecting, and at the end of the day, embrace change. Because it will happen. Whether you like it or not. Change happens in our life. I mean, just look at where you were living maybe a couple years ago, or your standard of living, right? It's changed. The human race. Think back to 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, hell, even 10 years ago, how the world has changed so drastically. And it's only going to keep changing. The sooner you embrace it, the sooner you can get towards an outcome that you want most out of life.